Coming up next on a hard-hitting half hour, this Jose tries to keep his streak booming, while this Jose tries to save his. Oh, buckle your chin straps, it's that time of year again. We preview today's Pigskin Classic from Ann Arbor. Preseason NFL, Vince Evans not acting his age against the Pats. It's a case of football fever in Jacksonville. It might be catching all over the league. Greg Jeffries finds the cure for nomomania, and Edgar has the Yanks feeling the West Coast woes. Bouncing your way, this is SportsCenter. What once was average now may get you into the playoffs. Good morning once again, everybody. I'm Jack Edwards. If fans are to pay any attention to the quest for mediocrity known as the wild card race, then for purposes of self-esteem, they at least ought to ignore any team which is under 500, such as the Yankees, who had lost 6 games in a row going into Seattle. The Mariners had lost 4 of their previous 6, but they were right at 500. Let's go under the cement roof in Seattle. Ken Griffey Jr. facing Andy Pettitte, who can have some pretty sweet stuff. But Edgar Martinez is up to snuff against the stuff. Bottom of the third, he busts up a 2-2 tie against Pettitte, hitting number 23 on the year. You may remember that Edgar Martinez hasn't played very much in each of the last 2 seasons after pulling a groin muscle during an exhibition a couple of springs ago. A couple of homers for him last night, and the M's win 7-4. Yanks have lost 7 in a row. That's their worst losing streak since an 8-game drought in 1991. 2 homers, 4 RBI for Martinez. He has a 13-game hit streak. He leads the majors with a .370 batting average now, a .504 on-base percentage. The road has not been kind to the Yanks. With 2 games to go in the current trip, they are 2-9. The New Yorkers are only 5-23 against West Coast teams this season. They're 0-5 at the Kingdome, where they play again tonight. Boston at Oakland. Jose Canseco getting a word with Jim Rice. Doug Johns, very solid for the A's. Sacks packed top of the 4th. Mike McFarland 6-4-3, and down go the Bo Sox. It's 3-0 Oakland, bottom of the 5th. Scott Brocious takes Real Cormier. Real deep. 4-0, 2 on the night for Brocious. Top of the 9th. And there goes Jose. Can you see that thing fly out toward Hayward? The Red Sox at least get that, but they can kiss the game goodbye. Doug Johns may finally stick this time. He's been called up from the minors 4 times this season, which means he has been sent back down thrice. He goes 7 innings, allowing only 2 hits. Jose Canseco homers for the 5th straight game. That ties the Red Sox record. Even though Boston lost, Canseco extended his hit streak to 16 games. He has reached safely in 39 of 41 games since the All-Star break, hitting .355. Not bad for a guy with a career batting average of .270. Baltimore at California. Scott Erickson has had his troubles in the last few years, but he's always been able to beat the Angels. Jeff Houston helps him out, robbing J.T. Snow. Have another look at Houston. This one hops up on the wrist, but thank you very much. He fires to first, and Chili Davis is out. Baltimore did some bashing. Pasadena's Mark Smith pounds it to left. He had only about, say, 36 or so free passes with family and friends watching, and the O's win 11-2. Mark Langston hadn't lost in Anaheim in more than 3 weeks, but he gives up 6 runs on 8 hits in 6 innings. Baltimore keeps creeping up on the Yanks. The Birds now are only 1.5 out of second in the American East. Is darkness gathering around the right-hander from the land of the rising sun? The Dodgers' Hideo Nomo allowed, on average, less than 2 runs per game in his first 19 starts. But in his last 4 outings, opponents have rocked him for nearly 5 runs per game. He faced the Phillies last night, a schizoid club which has been showing its good side of late. At Veterans Stadium, Nomo, bottom of the 1st, goes forkball against Greg Jeffries. But Jeffries digs down and goes up and back and out of here. 2-0 Phillies, number 9 on the year for Jeffries. Bottom of the 3rd, it's that man Jeffries again. This time he goes the other way. Roberto Kelly was swung around toward right. He's got a long run. He's coming on. He's not going to get it. It hops around in the plastic pasture, goes into the left field corner. It'll be a triple for Jeffries. 2 more runs score, and it's 4-0 Phillies. Into the bottom of the 4th. No way, Nomo. Jeffries facing the relief pitcher, hammers it into right. Now he's got a single, a triple, and a homer. Guess what's coming next? Bottom of the 5th, daring camera angle, the decision by the director. Jeffries knocks it into the left field corner. He's coming all the way around. Is he going to get to second? Yep, that's a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. That'll look like a cycle in a 17-4 romp by the Phillies. Philadelphia has won 8 out of 9, but the Phillies may have lost catcher Darren Dalton. The preliminary diagnosis is that Dalton may have torn cartilage in his right knee. He will be examined again today. Greg Jeffries is the first Phillies player in 32 years to hit for the cycle. St. Louis at Colorado. Brian Ricard reminding you to get to the ballpark early. First pitch of the game, Bernard Gilkey gongs one to left. He does a Ricky Henderson. That's number 13 on the year for Gilkey. Ozzie Smith, an ace in the field, and that's the 2 of clubs. 2 errors for Ozzie. Gilkey on third. Ray Langford just trying to drive the ball for a sac fly, and he flies it right out of here in the rare air in Colorado. 8-3, St. Louis wins it. The Cardinals have won 6 out of 8 against Atlanta, Cincinnati, and now Colorado. The Rockies remain half a game behind the Dodgers in the National West. Dante Bichette keeps his hit streak going, now at 13. Andres Galarraga's skein skids to a stop at 10. The football Cardinals may have Buddy Ryan, but the Browns' Bill Belichick is second to no one when it comes to grumpiness in the preseason. Belichick calmly squashed fan fervor over rookie quarterback Eric Zeier, never budging in his support of Vinny Testaverde during his starter's 2-week absence with a leg infection. Rookie running back Ernest Hunter has a spectacular 7.5-yard per carry average this preseason, but Belichick grumbles about fumbles. Harumph. So we look at the Brownies against the Cardinals. Second quarter, 1st and 10 at the Cards, 43. Andre Rison has found a home. I don't think he had both feet down, but it's only preseason. Third quarter, Eric Zeier in for Vinny Testaverde, who was pretty good. Darrell Hardy hammers him. Zeier loses the helmet, but keeps his head. Fourth quarter, 2nd and 1 at the 7, lobbing it into the end zone. Great catch. Kendall McCardle, the Browns go up 31-17. Have another look. That is major league stuff. A Cardinals fan decides he's going to get into the game. Obviously, not the first time he's gone on a gridiron without a helmet, and Garth Jacks puts him out of his misery. Cleveland wins 31-17. Rams against the Chargers. Offensive coordinator Ralph Friedgen filling in for Bobby Ross, who had intestinal surgery. Chargers didn't go anywhere on their first possession. Darrell Bennett booms one. 69 yards on the punt. He's an Australian football player. I just love Australian football. Second quarter, Chargers up 7-0. Natron Means beating a couple, making a miss, and wiggling out of bounds in one piece. 16 carries, 73 yards. Rams down by 14. Mark Rippon hits Jesse Hester, 31-yard gain. Rippon 11 for 14, 105 yards, but the Rams lose to the Chargers. Dolphins against the Buccaneers. First quarter, Dolphins up 7-3. Dan Marino gets picked off. It's Martin Mayhew. Achu. You're going to have to wait for Chris Berman until the 3rd of September when Primetime makes its season debut. Fourth quarter, Bucks up 24-17. Alvin Harper's had a rough preseason, and look at the leg getting pinned and twisted underneath. Oh, hurl your helmet. Harper's had a hard time. Bucks win by a touchdown anyway. Falcons against the Bills. Former Buffalonian Darryl Talley, now a Falcon, still Jim Kelly's close friend. He gives him a nice hug there. Second quarter, 10-0 Bills. Chris Moore hunting from the end zone. Eric Metcalf at the 45 finds the seam, finds daylight, dances 45 yards untouched. Bills up 10-7. Rookie Derek Holmes will not hear the footsteps of the Turk. This guy is gonna stick. Portland State product, and he's gonna play in the NFL. Bills win 20-14. Jets against the Bengals. Boomer Esiason returns to Cincinnati. First time he had been back there since 1992. 10-3 Bengals second quarter. Esiason still one of the great fakers of all time. Jets lead 13-10 at the half. Fourth quarter, Bengals quarterback Eric Wilhelm. Carl Greenwood steps in the way and picks it off. He gets the picket fence. 2-point conversion, 30-17 Jets. By the way, Dan Wilkinson fractured his right ring finger. Patriots against the Raiders. Opening kickoff. Dave Meggett is going to make things happen for the Patriots on returns. Gets the seam. And look at the kicker, Jeff Jager. Oh, I ran into some air. He strains his right knee. All those tender kickers. Raiders down by 9 in the fourth quarter. 40 years old. Vince Evans, 39 yards. That's Darryl Hobbs. An extra point makes it 24-22. Patriots trying to hold on. Scott Zolak Derek Hoskins is in the way. He takes it back to the Patriots' 30-yard line. It's an emergency kicker, Billy Joe Hobart, who needs specialists. Bring back George Blanda. The Raiders get 25 in the fourth and win 32-24. There's much more to come on this Saturday morning SportsCenter. The College Football Hall of Fame has a new home and 13 new members, including Jim Brown and Mike Singletary. We're back in a flash with that story and much more from the ballpark.
Really take the heart out of a promising second inning for Houston when they got their first two aboard. Hey, robbed by Colbert. Burkett covering.
Well hit fly ball. Deep to right field. It may go. Grand slam.
Should the Royals have been chicken facing Kenny Rogers? Although he is on the road when he's at Kauffman Stadium, Rogers pitches as if powered by home cooking. He hadn't allowed the Royals to score in his last 20 1/3 innings in their park. Texas was the wild card leader with KC in the hunt, and Rusty Greer in right in place of Mickey Tettleton, who had trouble in the fifth. Royals up 5-2. Wally Joyner lines it to right. Henry Mercedes trying to score from second, that throws off line. It hits him. Royals up 5-2. Next batter, Greg Gagne. Flares one to right. Greer coming on. Good effort, but he can't get leather between the ball and the grass. David Howard scores. Gagne has a double. And the Royals have a 9-4 win. Mark Gubicza hadn't beaten Texas and Kansas City in more than 9 years. He has beaten the Rangers only 3 times, the fewest wins he has against any American League club. The Royals are within 3.5 of wild card leading Texas now. Minnesota at Milwaukee. Tom Kelly looking on. Bottom of the first, John Jaha. Rich Becker bashed to center, and you got to know how long the warning track is. Rich Becker runs into it, can't jump. Phil Garner looking relaxed. Well, no wonder. Kirby Puckett swinging at stuff such as that. Scott Carl in command. Pedro Munoz hasn't a clue. Brewers win 6-3. Milwaukee close to within 1.5 of wild card leading Texas. Rookie Scott Carl has won all 4 of his starts in the month of August. Good thing, because the Milwaukee bullpen has a collective 6-7 record since the All-Star break. Texas is 5 over 500, leading the wild card race. Milwaukee and Seattle currently have winning percentages, which would be the worst in baseball history to make the postseason. The rest of the pretenders are below 500. And if the Astros keep it up, they'll be among the Submariners. Houston has been taking on water since the injury to, now we know why he was the MVP, Jeff Bagwell. The most recent hole in the hull was a 7-game losing streak heading into Florida. At Joe Robbie Stadium, Brian Hunter on first. John Burkett facing Craig Biggio, who goes bashing for the Astros, and a 2-0 lead-o. Top of the fourth, still 2-zip. Ricky Gutierrez. Jeff Conine robs him, and Burkett covers. Go to the bottom of the fourth. Andre Dawson can't run too fast anymore, but when you hit it over the fence, you can trot all the way around. Marlins up 5-2. They win 5-4. Stros have lost 8 in a row. That's their worst losing streak since 1983. Houston has lost 15 of its last 18, 17 of 24 since Bagwell broke his hand. The Marlins, on the other hand, have won 11 in a row at home. Atlanta beats the Cubs 7-3. John Smoltz improves to 13-4 lifetime against the Cubbies. The Braves are 31 over 500. They're still looking to improve. They sent a minor league outfielder to the White Sox for Mike Devereaux, who's hitting .306. San Diego was at Shea to play the Mets. Dallas Green's boys down 2-1 early. Sacks packed. Willie Blair has been good. Carl Everett is better. That ball is going to be out of here. Mets up 5-2 on the grand slam. Oh, there's a lot of traffic. You think LaGuardia is busy? Look at the base paths. Still in the 5th inning. Butch Husky hammers it. Forget it. Mets win 10-5. Jason Isringhausen improves to 4-2. The Mets have won 7 of 9, 13 of their last 18. Carl Everett has hit home runs in 4 of the Mets' last 6 games. Checking the National League wildcard situation, Colorado's only half a game out of first in the West and is half a game ahead of Philadelphia for the extra playoff spot. Houston is fading. Chicago is at 500. Still to come on SportsCenter, they filled the big bowl today. Michigan and Virginia begin the college football season. And what took the Hall of Fame so long to induct Jim Brown? You don't think it could have been politics, do you?
If I was too controversial when I was coming up in the 50s and 60s when there was tremendous racism, that's too bad.
How little meaning is there in the NFL preseason? Denver beat San Francisco twice, beat Dallas once, lost to both expansion teams. The Packers beat the Redskins. They also signed linebacker Joe Kelly. The Pack doesn't know if starter Fred Strickland will recover from Achilles tendon problems in time for the opener. New Orleans running back Vaughn Dunbar shows signs that at last he has recovered from knee surgery. We love the background on this story. Running for 73 yards and catching 2 passes for 26 more. The Saints beat the Lions 24-10. Will Virginia be richer for the experience? UVA opens the college football season with a lucrative payday in the first on-campus edition of the Pigskin Classic at Michigan this afternoon. While the Cavaliers will cash in, they may pay a price. The Wolverines will be stoked, playing in front of the usual 100,000 plus in Coach Lloyd Carr's debut. Mike Tirico is in Ann Arbor.
Jack, the reasons this is an important season for Lloyd Carr are very obvious. First, he has a 1-year contract. Second, this is the winningest Division I program of all time. They've won 8 each of the last 2 years. That's not what they're used to here. They want better. They're looking to Carr to turn around the program. How will last year's defensive coordinator feel in about a half hour as he takes the field as the head coach of the Wolverines?
A degree of excitement that probably will be unmatched for me in my career, but the fact is these seniors at Michigan are going to lead this team out of this tunnel.
The big question is, what's their defense going to be like? It's going to be like last year's, or is there a change? You keep hearing about this 4-3, and the 4-3, the way we played it, is not what Michigan played last year.
As for Welsh's Virginia defense, they return both cornerbacks on a team that led the nation in interceptions last year with 14. An important stat to keep in mind as you watch the game today. Remember, Scott Dreisbach is the Michigan quarterback. No more Gerbach, no more Collins. It's the first time ever a redshirt freshman has started the season as the Michigan quarterback. The weather in Ann Arbor today, 86 and sunny. It's expected to stay that way right through the game. Jack, back to you.
All right, Mike, thanks. The only game which decides its champion by ballot is by definition a political animal. Thus, it should come as no surprise that the athletic exploits of a man who praised communism went ignored by college football's Hall of Fame for some 80 years. The wrong was righted, at least part of it was, yesterday, with Paul Robeson's induction to the College Football Hall of Fame. As it opened a new building in South Bend, did the hall begin a new era? Only 40 years late, the outspoken Jim Brown got in. Holding your breath for an apology from him, you're going to turn blue.
If I was too controversial when I was coming up in the 50s and 60s when there was tremendous racism, that's too bad. But I didn't sit home and wait to get into the College Hall of Fame. So it would be terrible of me to come here now and try to talk about Jim Brown as an individual being passed over. It would have no meaning whatsoever to me.
The Hall also welcomed Mike Singletary, who twice had more than 30 tackles in a game at Baylor. His intensity more than made up for any lack of size.
I was fortunate enough to go to a great university, a university that was going to give a young man like myself a shot. I was considered too small to play this game. And they took a chance on me and gave me a scholarship, and it was a privilege and an honor for me to have that scholarship and give to them everything I had. And I tried to exemplify everything that Mom taught a little boy in Houston, Texas. Hard work, just give it everything you've got, and take the Lord with you.
Among the 13 inducted, Oklahoma running legend Billy Sims, Jim Grabowski, second only to Reg Grange in rushing yardage at Illinois, Paul Robeson. Would they let him in even now, 80 years late, if the Soviet Union had not broken apart? Nebraska defensive lineman Rich Glover, the best ever in Bob Devaney's opinion. Penn State's Dennis Onkotz, and the Arizona State dictator Frank Kush, the coach. If you missed the ceremonies on ESPN2 yesterday, you get a chance to see the hall, learn about the inductees, and visit with Chris Fowler and company in ESPN's presentation of the opening of the new College Football Hall of Fame. That's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Total Sports Network. Well, what's happening at the Jake by the Lake? When SportsCenter continues, we find out why the Indians' Sandy Alomar is taking a beating from the boys. And can Texas tame Taiwan? They play the Little League World Series Championship game today. Stay with us. Could the Indians do it one more time? The Tigers in the Tribe, Albert Bell, 29 years old, which in the Philippines makes him still eligible to play Little League Baseball. Bottom of the 6th. Your basic parabola job, a solo shot, makes it 3-1 Tribe. Top of the 9th, Jose Mesa, 38 for 38 in saves this season. Chad Curtis ends the record streak of consecutive saves without a blown opportunity in a single season. 5-5 tie, first blown save for Mesa, but in the bottom of the 11th, a 5-5 tie, and Sandy Alomar into the standing room. Go nuts again, 6-5 Tribe. The Indians win in their final at bat for the 22nd time, topping the Tigers in 11. Cleveland is 9-0 in extra innings and continues to post the best record in baseball now, 39 games over 500. Chicago tops Toronto 8-7. Ray Durham hits his first Major League Grand Slam in the win. Kirk McCaskill threw a little